Hello and welcome back. This is going to be a Divine Masculine check-in with my cards, and I'm feeling called to take it back a little bit to where I started with these, which was just using my Rider-Waite deck. And actually, it's funny, I've been feeling called to do more readings like this lately, but it hasn't been the right time, and I've been really fond of not pushing it, like going, okay, I hear the call, ring, ring. Do I need to answer right now? No, there's no need in it. But I do want to get more into doing more tarot readings, both for Twin Flames and just for all of us in general. And I'm thinking this is going to be the start of getting back into that too, so this should be fun. Now, I'm going to just pull from the deck. I've already shuffled it beforehand so that I'm ready to go. And I'm just going to shuffle it the way that I do, like when I'm doing a reading for somebody personally. Typically what I'll do is I'll just shuffle and let the cards reveal themselves. We'll see what's going on here with our Divine Masculines. I know today is significant too, being the 17th. It's the day that the Christmas or Bethlehem star is reappearing after 300 years, which 3 is significant. The Empress in there. And I know that the day's numerology, 12, 17, 20, 20, also equals 15. So some passion, some bondage, some different things. Look at that. Right there, Tower, which is funny because if you're watching the Path of the Empress series, I've been doing step 16, we're all talking about the Tower, and a lot of what I've been seeing today in syncs is very Tower and Chariot related, but more on the positive side, like a positive Tower happening. Let's see what else we get here. I'm just going to call it the shadow side of this one, King of Swords reverse. So a bit of a narcissistic entity that is likely Karmics, if you have a DM who's wrapped up with a Karmic, because when we are in our Karmic energy, we're usually actually in the opposite gender energy, and that's usually what I see when I see a masculine card in reverse, like a reverse King of Swords. I usually actually see it as females in there, but doesn't mean it can't be the masculine. It could be masculine for you, could also be a hint at an air sign, masculine or Karmic. And interesting. Might be some Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn involved in here. This card is interesting. I like this card. It's kind of my Dom sub card. And in reverse, well, what I'm seeing, it's funny. Actually, I'm noticing I have a little bit of dirt on 2 of the Pentacles on here. I think the 2 of Pentacles is probably relevant, and that's juggling. And I think what this card is saying with the Tower here is that the collective I'm reading for of DMs right now, they're feeling an imbalance of power, and it's likely, oh yeah, look at that, look at what the shadow card is now. 9 of Swords. Somebody's very unhappy, and I'm getting the sense, especially with the swords in there, that DMs are, they're miserable in their karmic situationships, and they're likely, if they're not in the middle of these Tower moments, they're kind of praying for them. But I get this kind of sense of a fair amount of DMs that, like, on the inside, their hearts are ready to burst open. They're so ready to be in healthier situations and to manifest better situations. But part of their karma was being mixed. I almost wanted to say laced up. Isn't that interesting? Laced up with those who are, what's the word? Well, those who get into unhealthy aspects of power exchange, like they violate consent. I think for some of these DMs too, it's that their karmics have reached the end of their cycles. Like typically when you're in karmic energy and you are used to unhealthy relationships, so that's funny, I'm seeing somebody walk by with a Grinch shirt. But typically when you're in unhealthy energy, your relationship cycles don't last that long, and it could not that long, could be, it's subjective, but what I'm getting the sense of is like within a year, like that, in a healthy, secure relationship, the honeymoon period can last like several years, whereas in an unhealthy relationship, typically it goes by very quickly. It could be over within a few weeks, or it could be over within 2 to 3 months, and then the not so fun sides start to show, but usually by then they've done enough love bombing and enough playing the role of of the victim that you feel stuck in it. And a lot of these DMs are stuck in that nightmare. This is like the nightmares card. And I'm feeling called to, I don't always feel called to it, but somebody else pointed out one time in this card, down in the bottom corner, you can kind of see, it looks in many ways like there's a figure holding up a stick getting ready to hit somebody else. And I know that some DMs are in situations where they are in, they're in domestic abusive situations, mostly emotionally, but for some of them physically. And for others, they're with karmics who are the type to, when they're ready, when they feel like they've used up everything that they can with these masculines, they will then do their best to make them look like they are abusers, so that it doesn't, so they feel like the karmics, when we're in toxic energy, we're often afraid of what other people will think, especially if they know our darker sides. We don't want to face that stuff. We don't want people to know that like it's silly. You could just have it be like, you know what, we were mutually bad for each other, and I had my bad parts and he had his bad parts, and like, let's just go there. But instead, oftentimes when we're in karmic negative energy, we try to make ourselves look totally good and the other person look really, really bad. And that's kind of the sense that I'm getting on there. There might be some stories coming out, some sort of drama in that. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to pull that shadow card and I'm going to ask for some clarification on that. Thank you, Spirit, for some clarification on this. I guess on all of these the Nine of Swords, the reversed Six of Pentacles, and the Tower. What's going on for DMs with this? Oh, interesting. Remember I mentioned the Two of Pentacles? Yep. And in reverse, that's confusion, delay, and the kind of facing the consequences of juggling. And I mean, as a lot of you know, many of these DMs have been juggling, both with work and family and you and karmics and things like that. And especially with Saturn just having gone into Aquarius today, Aquarius is a lot to do with justice energy and about the abuse of power and freeing those from situations that are tyrannical. And it's also in many ways about vindication too. So I keep getting messages and syncs that they relate to, well, I want to say a lot of divine feminines who, like, their DMs may have been saying that you were just crazy, or you didn't know what you're talking about, or even if they didn't say that, they were denying that they're still fully in love with you. And a lot of it's because they've been afraid of what other people would think and afraid of their karmics. Because a lot of these karmics can be very dramatic and very violent. And I know, like with my own DM, that his karmic regularly boasts about being violent and aggressive with her exes, with partners, with things like that. It really floored me that he didn't expect that to happen with him. But I also know that Spirit has reasons for lining us up with who we get lined up with, and it also relates to former karmics that he's been with. And I know that whether she leaves him just in her own cycle in those ways, or whether he stands up for himself, it's going to be healing of not just the cycle with that karmic, but of other ones. And so I let Spirit take the wheel in that. But that could be, if you're in a similar situation, that could be what's going on with your DM right now. Now, the card that came up for clarification, I'm kind of not surprised to see this, is the... And it's funny because when I pulled it out, it was reversed, but I pulled it out this way. But it felt relevant to start it this way. So what I'm seeing is both. We've got Divine Feminine in reverse, right? As Divine Maverick says, make sure to check out her channel. She's very awesome. What I'm seeing here, though, because this card in reverse is about toxic feminine energy, using secrets to gain power and abuse others and torture them with it, and being very passive aggressive and using spirituality to hurt other people. And then on the upright, usually it's about someone who is, well, more quiet. They listen. They observe things. They are sitting on a seat and learning about things spiritually. They're waiting for the fruit in the back to ripen. They're not forcing it to ripen. They are imagining the moment when it is ripe. but they're not, they're not plucking it or anything like that. And they're very connected with their intuition. This is somebody who is not connected with their intuition. In fact, they're specifically ignoring their intuition. And in this card in general, you see the two pillars, which is about light and dark, which also reminds me of, actually, it's been in a number of movies, but there's a saying that's been coming up a fair amount lately, is from darkness comes light and from light comes darkness. And also, when you're feeling in moments when something, that's funny, a bird just swooped down in that, so somebody's on the descent. When you're feeling, I don't want to say scared, but when you're feeling like there's negative energy around you, you can say, I call in the light, I call in love. And you can work with that, and you might find yourself wanting to call in something else too, but just make sure you're in a good place with it. Now let's get a little bit more clarification though here. Let's just see what's going on with them. It definitely makes sense to me with the Tower and the reverse Six of Pentacles with that Dom sub card, especially if you and your DM shared any sort of dynamics like that. It's very likely that when they got in with Karmics, especially if it was a rebound, that there was some talk of having some sort of relationship like that, which takes an incredible amount of trust and ability to be vulnerable. And it could be that they thought that they would get some sort of positive relationship with that, but now it's ended up being power struggles constantly. And with somebody, it's funny, the Justice reverse card almost came out there, to somebody that abuses their power. And, oh, interesting, Ace of Wands almost popped out there too, some sort of speaking up. Oh, whoa, a lot of cards there. I'm not going to take those ones out, but King of Swords upright did pop up, so I think DM's maybe getting ready to cut away at this. You know what, let's do that. I'm going to leave these cards here and say, what are DM's next move? What are they thinking to do? What's their next most likely move under the energy of 17, the star? What are they feeling called to do, guided to do? Oh, interesting. Death card in reverse, and we've got the Four of Cups in reverse too. Now, typically, like, Death card upright would be like positive Scorpio energy, transformation, butterfly moments, phoenix moments. In reverse, it's kind of more about burning the bridge, just being done with it. And with this, I almost want to emphasize that with the Four of Cups in reverse, but it's still kind of in an immature way. Like, they're still... In fact, this one can often be about manifesting too, and it may be that a lot of DMs are still in a place where they're not recognizing how much power and control they have over the situation they're in by how they think about it. And for those that have been through many painful former relationships and things with Karmics, they're probably imagining that it's going to be dramatic, and it already is dramatic. Here's what I'm getting the sense of, that they've been afraid of ending the Karmic situationship because of the drama that they believe will happen when they do that, and that they will get like emotionally blackmailed, or their money will be taken, or they'll lose their situation, and that their reputation is going to be ruined, and or that Karmics might do what they can to try to actually get them into some sort of fight so that they can feel righteous in saying that they're the ones who are actually being abusive and things like that. And now masculines have manifested that. Like, they've manifested that sort of situation, and in also being in the karmic situation they've been in, part of their lesson has been to learn how to manifest positive situations and create positive karma. But if you have, if you're in this collective, these DMs have only barely figured that out, and so now they're trying to do that, but they've got this old momentum kicking in and triggering them and compelling them to get out of these relationships. There's been a lot of 10-10 energy going on too, which is Wheel of Fortune, and it also relates to the Great Unraveling readings that I've been doing and the Karmic Carnival. And so what they've manifested are these situations that are so bad they can't stay, yet they're just on the precipice because they don't want to go, because they don't want to face the consequences of the choices that they've made. But that's created a situation like this, where false foundations are coming in. Now, if you've been following my videos, you know that that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're still learning that. And so, and this energy, though, for me, this is very bratty energy. Like, this is, rather than just being mature and saying, look, this just really isn't working, and you're welcome to go and say whatever the heck that you want. I'm still done. I'm just done. And I don't want to fight with you. And this really wasn't, I apologize because we shouldn't have even jumped into this. And I see that it's on both of us, but I'm not taking another step further. There's just too many. In fact, what's funny is this is a tower card of its own kind in here too. But instead, it's more like, I'm gonna be as off-putting and non-fun, stick in the mud as I can be, and when you tell me that you don't like the way I'm behaving, I'm just gonna argue with you or say I don't want to fight or be immature about it. So especially if you have a water sign, a masculine who has dominant water signs. And I want to look at here the hot topic, Six of Wands, which is typically about ego and reputation and recognition. And in upright, it would be sort of a Chariot card. It'd be a positive reputation, feeling recognized, like welcoming you home. At this side, it's your reputation getting sacked, and it's having your ego cut down a few notches and things like that. And it's communication that is not very fun. I don't see what's in the heart of the matter. I'm not surprised. Seven of Swords in there. Somebody's been manipulating, stealing, likely cheating. And I have been getting a fair amount of signs today that people might be, especially DMs, might be finding out that they've been cheated on or cheated out of various things. And a fair amount of them have gotten with karmics that, unfortunately, in their path, they have felt like they would be more in power if they manipulated and stole and cheated and things like that. And what I'm going to say is, if you do have, if your DM has a karmic like that, pray for them. Pray good things for them. Pray for healing. Pray that they find their healing path. Pray that they find their DM, because many of them are often also twin flames. They're just not twin flames to your person. And they often know that even, and they're ready to be done. And in fact, what these cards tell me is that a lot of the karmics on this that I'm channeling are at the point to where they already realize that they've been done and they don't want it, but they have this, they're splitting, and they see the world as kind of win-lose, black and white, pedestal, fallen from grace kind of thing, and to let go of the relationship in a healthy, mature manner and just say, you know what, I was not really ever into it, I was fearful and I didn't want to be alone and things like that. Instead, they feel like they have to win. And especially being paired up with somebody who, if you've been working on your journey and you have been, especially if you have been praying positively for them and you've been doing things similar to the steps that I've been listing, and you've been glowing up and things like that, they likely feel like they're losing to you, which they're really not. I mean, to be like, the whole idea of the journey is healing. And when they get to a point in their journey when they recognize that, they're likely going to be very appreciative that they finally kind of met their match, so to speak. And even though there's not a win-lose, and even if there was, like, you're much higher matched because you're not playing a win-lose game. At least I hope you're not. And if you are, time to work on that. I'm actually going to pull and say, what's some advice for those of you divine feminines watching, other than don't worry about it? I'm just going to say, don't worry about it. It's nice to have these readings sometimes just to see what's going on. I don't do them very often because I don't know, I don't spend as much time focusing on what's going on in there. Interesting. So, Knight of Swords reversed and Page of Pentacles reversed. I think what I'm getting the sense of is that for some of you, your masculines may try to rush in a little immaturely, and some of this energy, I'm getting a couple different timelines, and some of them could actually be combined. Some masculines may come in and tell you about what's going on, about the tower situations, about the fighting. They may even ask you for help, and if they do, it's up to you to decide whether or not to, but they may be communicating to you that they're in a situation that's not going to bear fruit, and they're ready to take a leap of faith, and they'd really like to come towards you, but they recognize they've been immature, and that they ran away and were very cowardly, and that they're ready to get out of the situation that they're in, but it's a struggle and it's a fight. Others may be coming towards you, and this could even be before the first one, but they may be coming towards you with emotions that actually have much more to do with their situationships with their karmics. Wow, and a third timeline I'm getting on their strong leaves. For some of you, your masculine's karmics may be they might be trying to fight with you, likely through text or communication in that way, and they're unhappy that, yeah, yeah, they're just unhappy, and they're looking for somebody to blame in it. And if it's a masculine coming towards you, just give them grace. Don't argue with them, and just tell them they're adorable and that they're welcome to share their feelings, that you're not going to take blame for the situation, and that when they're ready to own their own bits in it, that you'll be happy to help them rebuild. All right, I'm going to leave this here. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.